To people feeling left behind in life. Do you ever feel lost? Perhaps you can't help but notice the looming presence of despair on your shoulder. Aside from your battles and resistance, evil ideas infiltrate your mind, altering your perception of life and, eventually, yourself. Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm not anyone. I'm nothing, and I'm alone myself. My life is over. While it may seem cliché, your life is not over, and there is still something worth living in it. We might lose ourselves in our thoughts, feeding ourselves unpleasant thoughts and hurtful remarks. Don't lose hope just yet. We have the ability to alter our ideas and our future. We created this clip specifically for you to help you take a step back and recall what makes life worthwhile. Here are 6 things to keep in mind when you feel that your life is coming to an end. First and foremost, keep in mind that life isn't always joyful. Not every time. We might easily become engrossed in the notion that we must be happy. We idealize other people's life when we gaze at them. We look to our neighbors for guidance. Their house is enormous. They have a lot. And we look around at our colleagues. They are much ahead of us. They have a lot of friends. They must be pleased. And, while we may appear to live joyful lives, the majority of our time is spent in neutral. We are not designed to be in a continual state of static delight. There would be no happiness if we were always happy. Happiness would just become the usual. It's something we're accustomed to. It is true that individuals can live wonderful lives and not recognize it until it is gone. We are programmed to focus on the unpleasant aspects of life. We're just wired that way. It is well known in psychology that the human brain has a negative bias. Brain activity studies have revealed that the brain responds more aggressively to negative pictures than to positive or neutral images. Our brains, in general, have developed to protect us from harm. To survive as developing humans, we needed to focus on the hazards that may hurt us rather than the wonderful aspects of our lives. So, if you find yourself dissatisfied, continually comparing your life to others, ruminating on problems, and pulling yourself down, don't be disappointed because you believe you should be the life of the party. Recognize that these negative ideas are natural. Be an observer in your own life. Know your limitations and understand that there is no such thing as permanent happiness. Happiness is only a temporary feeling. Because if it remained much longer, we would forget how happy we were. That sensation would just become normal, and we would be unable to enjoy it. Number 2, everything in life will pass. While it may appear that this sensation will never go away, you must recognize that there are other emotions to be felt. They are out there somewhere, we simply have to locate them. Perhaps you've recently lost a valued job, or perhaps you're grieving the loss of a loved one. You might potentially be suffering from a mental disorder. While the agony from these events may appear to be relentless, no matter how much you fight it, life is continually changing. As humans, we are always evolving, and events and situations may and will alter. Everything happens in its own time. And there is yet hope. Give your heart the time it needs to heal, whether it's a week, a day, an hour, or a minute. That hour, month, year, whatever it is, one day when you wake up to the sun rising, you will feel better. Third, recognize the excellent in your life. We all have a lot to be thankful for, but we're not always good at recognizing it. When our minds are so concentrated on the bad aspects of a mistake we have committed or a task we failed, we might ignore the benefits. It might be difficult to constantly see the sunny side of things these days. Don't expect that from yourself. Recognize that, as I previously stated, the human brain is inclined toward negative. But first, consider what makes your life worthwhile to live. Make it into a game for us. Take a minute to be grateful if you have loving parents or friends. If you've done something amazing in the past, acknowledge it and give yourself a genuine pat on the back. Feel proud if you've accomplished a significant challenge. Recognizing the positive aspects of our lives might help us recognize that they outweigh the negative. If we give them the attention and affection that they deserve, we will be able to recognize all of the wonderful that makes our lives worth living. Fourth, create your own storyline. We may all get so caught up in our disappointments that we forget we have the ability to change. Perhaps you weren't the person you wanted to be. But first, consider if this is really a horrible thing. Is it necessary to be the person you've always envisioned in order to have a prosperous, happy life? You may transform into anybody or anything, the possibilities are limitless. You'll still be yourself. You should not expect to become King of France. The odds aren't in your favor on that one. But preserve the core of who you are and don't feel obligated to change. Nevertheless, remember that we all make errors and can always learn from them. Habits may be formed with enough practice. You may improve your skills and become the finest version of yourself. Change is achievable, we simply need to keep working toward it. Number 5, your mind is capable of deception and understands how to persuade you. We truly are our own worst enemies. Our thoughts are capable to deception. We are cruel to ourselves and tell ourselves terrible things. We dwell on what goes wrong in our lives rather than what goes right. We are the best at deceiving ourselves. Perhaps you felt it, the pain of harsh words and critiques. They make their way deep into your heart, probing at your fears. As if yelling in an unyielding voice that you've discovered to be your own. You may believe you have no worth. You have undoubtedly failed. That you'll never improve. These, however, are falsehoods. And we may look at others objectively and see that they are evaluating themselves far too severely. So perhaps we should do the same for ourselves. Recognize whatever situation you're in. Whatever has occurred to you does not represent your value. You are not unchangeable. We are capable of transformation. We can develop. And our self-criticism is frequently overly severe. To be honest, you've been a liar, and I'm calling you out on it. Sixth, there is, or may be, someone out there who adores you. Some of us are blind to the pouring of love and support for us. We just need to open ourselves and give them a chance. Someone out there cares about you. Perhaps you are feeling alone at this time in your life, but feeling alone is not an excuse to quit up. Many suicide survivors have frequently regretted their suicide attempts as soon as they attempted them. Many of them have gone on to live meaningful lives and form great partnerships. Don't give up if it feels like you've been waiting or trying for an eternity to meet someone who understands and loves you. They may be just around the corner. You could one day meet someone with whom you can develop a life as a partner, a friend, or a family. A passion might even become your life's love. And if you love yourself sufficiently, you may be one of your finest allies and friends. You should be the one. And I'll strive to offer you the affection that only the finest of friends deserve. If you don't give up and instead give your life a fighting chance, you might cultivate the bright concept that your life is a life worth living. And you'll soon find yourself pondering. I am someone. I am myself. I can be anybody or whatever I choose to be. My life is not over, tomorrow may be a fresh beginning if I want to make it so. It's possible if I can. So, did any of these suggestions assist you? If so, which stood out the most to you? Share your thoughts in the comment section. And remember that you are not alone. And, if these sentiments persist, consider seeking treatment from a mental health professional. They, like us, care about you. With a little help, you may soon be on your way to feeling a little happy. However, that is exceedingly unlikely and, to be honest, impossible. At least, it is what psychology and nearly every human mind believe. If you found this video useful, please click the like button and share it with someone who could benefit from it.